Whisper to me your secrets, show me your nightmares. All cats are gray in the dark, dear, whether or not you dare. Welcome to All Cats Are Gray in the Dark. I'm your host, April Simmons. This podcast contains true cases of graphic violent crimes and other stories of a dark nature. Please be advised that due to the subject matter and violent, sometimes sexual content and obscene language, this podcast is not for children or the faint of heart. All right, welcome back. We're on episode 2. Sahara's here with me again, back by popular demand.
I don't know about popular, but here I am.
A couple of people said, hey.
There's 2 people. Thank you so much.
Today we're going to talk about some dark tourism inspired by the Netflix show. I watched it, and some of the locations I was excited about, and some of them I was just like, meh. And I thought, well, I'm going to come up with my own list, because I just thought that would be a neat subject to talk about. It's not going to be an in-depth list. We just kind of jotted down a list of ideas of places we would want to go or that we found interesting, and we thought we'd share them with you. So here we go. Number 1 on my list. These are in no particular order. I just kind of jotted them down. Stanley Hotel.
100% want to go there.
Really?
Absolutely. Have friends there right now staying. Unfortunately, they couldn't get room 217. A lot of people don't know. Well, most people do know, if you're a Stephen King fan, that he based The Shining off of that hotel when he stayed there one time, and it was room 217. Yeah, you named it Overlook. Yeah,
and it's in Estes Park, Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
But we were discussing earlier that there's conflicting stories because, you know, there's some people that say there's no paranormal activity before the book, but there have been like ghost hunting groups and stuff like that that have done some testing there and have come up with supposedly haunted results.
Did you see the guy that videotaped staying in that room overnight?
I think I saw clips of it. I don't think I watched
it was
the
like
whole thing.
The closet door opened by itself, which could easily be rigged up. So.
Yeah.
But there were a few things on his videotape that made me go, okay. Be a little scared to stay in that room. I'd give it a go. I'd give it a shot.
Yeah. I'd give it a go. I've been to, well, you know, from both of our experience doing we did ghost hunting together, and that's how we met, was through a local ghost hunting group that we kind of investigated some stuff locally, and most of the time it's not really as exciting as it sounds.
No, it's
a lot of sitting and staring at each other till something happens.
Right.
And sometimes it doesn't. So
most of the time it
doesn't. Most of the time it doesn't, except for the Thaxton house, and we're probably going to have an episode about that at some point.
That's pretty intriguing. That one was fun.
Anyway.
A lot of times it was us just trying to scare each other, though. We'd give each other the heebie-jeebies. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Yeah, that was fun.
But the Thaxton house, though.
That was creepy.
Yeah, I'm not sure I would go back there.
Well, it doesn't exist anymore. They tore it down.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
All right. Number 2 on the list, we kind of went way off on the very first one. We spent like 3.5 minutes on the very first location. The second one I have is Pompeii.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, you know, I guess it's just a fascinating thing because it's the only real example that we have of that, you know, where it's a city that just got completely buried and buried and preserved in history and forgotten about and then rediscovered like that. And it's just, there's something eerie about that whole situation. I would like to go there.
It would be super eerie if you were living back in that era and suddenly you look up and it's literally raining fire on you.
Yeah.
Of course, from the volcano, it's not raining fire, but it was raining fire out of the sky. It was that would be pretty terrifying.
Yeah. Okay, number 3, the Suicide Forest in Japan.
I would like to go there.
The Sea of Trees. I'm not even going to pretend to pronounce the actual name. Aokigahara. No idea how to pronounce it. Oh.
I have no
and
idea.
now we're going to get comments from people like, you did not pronounce that right.
Barely tried. It's okay.
But it's basically kind of the legend is that it is a home for the ghosts of the dead.
Ooh.
And it is located close to Mount Fuji. And I think this is the record, but I couldn't find anywhere else that stated this exactly. But in 2003, there were 105 bodies found.
That's a lot.
So that was the highest number that I found out of the ones that I saw listed.
I think there's been more recently.
I found one that I found something that said that I think it was 2017 had 200 attempted, but only 58 succeeded.
Wow.
But it's a lot.
What is it that makes them go there? I wonder. Because
and I
so
wonder,
secluded,
but it seems like do all of them intentionally go there, or do some go there and are affected by something, the quiet or ghosts or whatever? Is there something else there affecting me? And that's what really creeps me out, because I'm mentally ill and I've had suicidal thoughts. So the idea of going to this place terrifies me more than like any of the ghost story
stuff. It could
stuff.
be something as simple, being that Japan is known for earthquakes, tsunamis, and such. It could just be like the seismic shifts of the atmosphere there could have people thinking and feeling that way. It's like almost a subconscious brain disorder because of the tidal shifts and things. Mm-hmm. It's like the haunted forest in Romania. I don't know the name of it, but people just go in there, and it's not really exactly a suicide forest, but they have this overwhelming sense of dread and sadness, like someone is watching them and someone wants them to die. So it could possibly be like that.
But and also statistically, it's been primarily hangings and overdoses.
Interesting.
I just thought that was odd.
Well, is Japan? I believe that Japan is a gun-free zone. They prohibited like the UK and Australia and such. So probably not a lot of gunshot victims would go there. It'd be hard to get guns probably done.
All right, next one on the list, the 6th Floor Museum in Dallas, the JFK, the book deposit. What was formerly the book depository is now a museum. You can see the window that he shot from and everything, that Lee Harvey Oswald shot from and everything like that.
Is it supposedly haunted? I haven't heard that one.
I don't know for sure if it's haunted, but it's kind of just a
morbid. It's just fucked up, regardless.
It's just a morbid stop, because I think I'd seen that one on the Netflix thing. They had, he even got to ride in the car. They sat him where they were sitting in the back seat, and I don't know, there's just something really creepy about that to me.
That would be pretty creepy, to sit where JFK sat when half his face was going on.
Mm-hmm. And the next one is probably one of my top ones. Whitechapel, London. The areas where Jack the Ripper killed his victims. I don't know why Jack the Ripper has always fascinated me, but theorizing on that. I don't even have a specific theory, but I think it's reading
the fact
about
that he was never caught. That is completely fascinating. He got away with so many murders. Cutting people in half even. I mean, they called him the Ripper for a reason.
Yeah.
And some say it was even a prince. That it was the prince. Have you heard that theory?
Yeah, and also the writer of Alice in Wonderland. What is it?
Really?
Carol? What is it? Lewis Carroll? Yeah.
I have not heard that.
Yeah. Because
I could see that.
He had female issues.
Yeah,
he has female issues too. I think his mother was a prostitute. I think that was part of it. I'm not 100% sure. Don't quote me on that, anybody. And as a sidebar, London Dungeon is also a tourist attraction now, where they recreate like historical events that are gory and macabre, and they use live actors and special effects, and they have rides, all kinds of
I would
stuff.
like to go to there.
I know, right?
I would like to go to there.
And they do stuff about Jack the Ripper too, and even the
Captain
fictional.
Spaulding's Wild Murder Ride.
I know, right?
I want to go.
That sounds right up our alley.
Yes, 100%.
Do they serve drinks on this ride? Anyway, because that would make it perfect. I just thought
Bloody
it was
Marys.
They also do some stuff about Sweeney Todd and stuff, even though that's fictional. But the next one's a really messed up one that I had heard of before, but I didn't really know the whole story. The Island of the Dolls. Just south of Mexico City, between the canals, there's a little island that was owned by a man. I forget his name now. I didn't write it down. Darn it. I suck at this. But there was a little girl that had drowned on the island, and he said that the little girl's spirit was talking to him, and he started buying and trading for little dolls to put up all over the island. He hung them up all over the island. Yeah. And then he ended up drowning in the same place as the little girl.
Creepy.
I know, and it's just creepy, and the dolls are hanging up there rotting and stuff all over the place.
I want to go there, but I don't want to swim there.
It's for real. Like, don't go near the water. But everybody should look up the pictures. Island of the Dolls. The
and that's
pictures
south of Mexico, like Nicaragua. Or
south of Mexico City.
Oh, south of Mexico City. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So everybody should look up pictures because it's really, really creepy. And
I have to look that up. I've heard that story, but I haven't seen any of the pictures.
Like I said, I'd heard of the place, and I think I'd even seen pictures before, but I didn't know the whole story behind it. Another one that has always interested me, and this may seem really freaking silly, Bermuda Triangle.
That fascinated me as a child.
It did me too.
Yeah, when I was a preteen, 10 to 12 or whatever, I started reading stories about the Bermuda Triangle, and I don't want to go there, but I would like for someone else to go there and tell me how it is.
Well,
let me know how it goes.
I was just going to say, I found on a website, and now I did not make note of it, so I'm a terrible, terrible host. But you can get a twilight excursion in a glass-bottom boat.
No, thank you.
They run it from April to October. It's $89 for an hour and a half cruise to the Bermuda Triangle in a glass-bottom boat.
Wow.
I just thought that was fascinating. If I ever get the chance, I'm probably going to totally do that.
I would not do that, but let me know how it goes.
I'll send pictures.
I have a theory that Amelia Earhart went into the Bermuda Triangle. I think she went off course, went into the Bermuda Triangle, and never came out.
They keep every couple of years they say they found some stuff.
They found her, yeah, and
but I don't know.
Most recent one, it forensically is a possibility from what I read last, but I'm not sure. Who knows? She's always been fascinating to me, in the fact that she just literally disappeared.
Yeah. And next is kind of similar in a kind of a way. I would like to visit the location where the Titanic sank.
Really?
Yes, I would.
They're doing the maiden voyage. They've rebuilt the Titanic.
Yeah,
Titanic
I think that's
and
too much.
They're going to take the exact same route.
No.
You don't want to be on the maiden voyage?
No.
That's
a little bit too weird, because, have you seen the Doctor Who episode?
Thank you. They are 100% asking for it. But they won't have to worry about any more icebergs, because global warming, there's not any icebergs left. They're not going to hit anything.
Either way, it's just tempting fate to me.
Yes,
but
100%. They have to be... And I'm a huge Titanic fan, not the movie. I thought the movie was ridiculous.
I was obsessed with it when I was younger.
But the actual ship. Yeah, I've been to the traveling museum that came to Mud Island. Did you go to that? Did you get to see that? It's fascinating. Of actual relics that they had pulled up from the ship.
See, now that's the kind of thing I'm totally into.
Yeah. But that's as far as my fandom goes. I don't even want to go on a cruise. I don't care if it's on the actual Titanic too or not. I have no desire to get on a cruise ship and go to the middle of the ocean to sink. No, thank you.
Yes. They supposedly starting this year, although I couldn't find confirmation of when it actually begins or if it has already begun, They're doing diving excursions that people can pay for to go down and look at the wreckage. However, it's like over $100K per person.
Wow.
For like a 3-hour dive.
Is it? I may be wrong for feeling this way, but these are just my feelings on this. I feel like it's almost desecration. I feel like they just need to leave I'm glad that they decided against trying to raise the ship, because for a while they talked about trying to raise it. Mm-hmm. I think that it's desecration to go down there to try to raise it. Let those poor souls rest.
Yes. I don't know how I feel about it, but I definitely don't have the money to do that anyway. But they have.
Even if I had the money, I am not going to the bottom of the ocean to look at stuff.
But there's several different museums all over the place. I didn't even list all of them because there's so dang many Titanic museums in different locations and touristy areas and things like that.
I think the one, I believe it's in New Brunswick, where a lot of the passengers at least have markers. They have a cemetery, a Titanic cemetery, and whether the bodies are there, which I don't believe the bodies are, but they have, I think the best museum is in New Brunswick. I would like to visit there.
We'll have to make a note of that sometime, because I would totally love to go there. We're just going to have to make our own list of stuff that's doable and then just do it.
Girls road trip.
Yes.
Cats in the Dark traveling road trip.
Yep.
To the Lizzie Borden house.
Yes.
Here's a segue. We must go to the Lizzie Borden house, where there is
Wi-Fi. They have free Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi.
I don't know why when I looked that up, I laughed so hard. And I was like, can you believe they have Wi-Fi?
Fantastic. We have to go stay there and live stream.
Because they have Wi-Fi.
Yes.
Next on the list.
Kill your father and then get on the internet.
That's what you do. Bran Castle is next on the list. In Romania, yes. Which is, of course, the former home of Vlad the Impaler, a.k.a. Dracula. I mean, I don't know if
Did you know that wasn't actually his castle? That's where he was imprisoned after he was caught.
No, I didn't know that one. But either way, it's interesting.
I would like to go to there. Yes. I would like to see that.
I would go to any castle. I want to go to any castle. Anyway. I want to go to any castle. I just love castles. Old castles, yes. I love them. Anyway.
Can you imagine how hard it would be? There's this is eerie too. I don't know if you know about this. Aleister Crowley's house is for sale.
Oh, cool.
It's been burned though. Jimmy Page bought it, and then it was, I believe, struck by lightning, which makes sense. In 2015 or 2016, somewhere recently in the past few years, it caught fire and it's been burned almost to the ground. But it's supposedly stupid haunted, like one of the most haunted places in, I think, Scotland. So
that's
the
term we're coining now. Stupid haunted.
Stupid haunted.
Stupid haunted.
Ridiculously haunted.
Next on the list is Alcatraz. My sister actually visited there recently. She went on a trip out there, and
I've heard a lot of eerie things happening there. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You can hear voices and cell doors opening on their own.
It was only open from 1934 to 1963, which actually surprised me because it seems like a short amount of time. But it was always plagued. There. It was always plagued with bad conditions and a bad reputation. Mm-hmm. But
the warden there, I can't think of his name. He was known for being a terrible, terrible person.
Mm-hmm. And also, there before Alcatraz was even built, Native Americans said that island was filled with evil spirits. So apparently, it was just a bad place.
Did you know? Here's a little sidebar. One of my favorite TV shows that came on HBO, Oz, the prison show. The prison was called Oswald Penitentiary, named after the warden of Alcatraz, whose last name was Oswald. That's where they came up with that.
Oh, I did not know that.
Useless knowledge.
We're full of it. Yeah. No. The next on the list is Salem, Massachusetts.
That whole damn town is haunted.
I just don't even know. Like
the Salem
It's
witch
like
trials. I mean, they're burning witches. You know that whole place is haunted.
I know, but it's probably more along the lines of cursed.
Yes.
So it's like, I don't know if I want to visit that. It's like,
well, I mean,
it's
most
kind
of
of
the
cool
women that they
touristy.
burned weren't even witches. So
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure that it's cursed as much as it is just extremely haunted of these tortured souls who were killed for no reason. Blamed for things because they had a wart on their nose. They're a witch, burn her. Or
maybe we're weird enough that they would be like,
they're
one of us.
No, we would have 100% been burned.
Yeah.
You and me both?
Yeah.
We would have been burned together. They'd have just tied us one on each side of the stake and just
they'd be
lit
like,
us up.
Not only are they weird, but they're redheads. They must die.
100%, yeah.
They must die. Next on this is Chernobyl, which we both said that we would not go to.
No,
it's still too much for us.
Mm-mm.
And see, I have a weak immune system. I have problems, and I'm like, man, if there's anything there, it's gonna get me.
I mean, even like 20 miles away, there's an orphanage, and maybe a little bit farther away than that. But to this day, women are still having babies and then putting them in the orphanage because they don't want to take care of them because they are so deformed. They have like 3 legs or no arms or just these poor health. And this is years and years later. They're having deformed babies because of the radiation effects of Chernobyl. No, I don't want to go within 1,000 miles of Chernobyl ever.
Same. I really just seeing it fascinates me. I like it when there's like videos. Yeah, when someone else goes and I can see video or pictures or whatever.
Like the Bermuda Triangle. You go, let me know how it is.
Yeah. Next on the list, I just named the whole city of New Orleans because, see, we're from the South. We're in Mississippi. We've both been in New Orleans multiple times.
One of my favorite cities. 100% one of my favorite cities. But it's just honeymoon there. Loved it.
But it's haunted as fuck.
The entirety.
Yeah, I mean, it is. And they
area
have the most beautiful, rickety old cemeteries and, St. Louis cemeteries.
Even the old row houses are beautiful. Even the Ninth Ward, the little tiny shit shack row houses. I love them. I love everything about New Orleans, including the haunted history.
And the Voodoo Queen and you said the
Marie Laveau. However, Marie Laveau's little shop on Bourbon Street is one of the biggest tourist traps in the world. Don't even bother going there. It's stupid.
And you said the Death Museum wasn't right.
Death Museum is boring. Yeah, I thought it would be a place that I would really, really want to see, but you can just walk by it and look in the window and tell this place is shit. Yeah, so. It takes less than 15 minutes to walk through, and they really don't have that much. So.
And there's also stuff in
no plug for that.
There's also nearby stuff, like you were talking about the Myrtles plantations and stuff. That's not
the
very
Myrtles,
far
that's
from...
in St. Francisville, which is maybe an hour northeast. Yeah. I haven't stayed there yet, but that is one place that I do want to visit badly. And it is in, I believe, still to this day in the top 10 most haunted places in America. Really, really want to visit there. If you don't know anything about the Myrtles, you should look up and read the story of that one. It's fascinating. And a lot of eyewitness accounts. It's probably one of the most documented haunted places in America where they have actual footage and such of it.
All right, we're going to take a quick break for some type of commercial.
Our town isn't like other towns. People move here to raise their children, far from the dangers of the big city and all the things that go bump in the night. And I can see why. From the outside, Tupelo seems like every town USA, a quiet little slice of heaven right here on Earth, where Saturday barbecues include the whole neighborhood, and the bad things only happen to bad people. It's a living Rockwell, oozing with pastoral southern charm, but what if I told you that looks can be deceiving? Would you believe me? Or would you laugh it off? Call me crazy. And tuck your littles into their beds without a second thought? Well, maybe you should listen at least for a moment, to the other side of the story. Because I can tell you one thing, your family is not safe here. You are not safe. Tupelo isn't a Rockwell. It's an Orwell. And I intend to expose the dark underbelly of this town if it's the last thing I do. And it just might be. I'm your hostess, Sarah Locke, and this is City Secrets.
There we go. Now we're back. Alright, next on the list is the Amityville house.
I've been there.
Have you?
I've been there.
Oh my god, I didn't know that.
My Aunt Bert lived in the Hampton. She lived in close to East Hampton, between East Hampton and Bridgehampton, in a little town called Watermill, which is maybe 45 minutes from Amityville. And when I was younger, probably 21 or 22, I borrowed her Jeep and I drove to Amityville. I got to go there. They've completely remodeled it now. The upstairs, the creepy windows and everything, it's all remodeled and redone, and it doesn't even really look the same. And the house keeps coming up for sale. Every 5 or 10 years or so, you can find it up for sale.
Well, there's people that say it's because it's cursed or the haunting or whatever.
I
that
think
people don't stay with it.
I think more of what it is the people who live there get tired of people like me driving up in the driveway because it's such a big tourist pool.
Or kids daring
fans.
each other to go.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they probably are like, screw this, we're moving, we're tired of all the people.
Yeah. I was fascinated by the Amityville house when I was a kid. But if you go back and watch the movie, it's really cheesy.
It's campy.
It's so campy, but
it's based on a true story.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, I don't know about how haunted it truly is, or the possession, or any of that, but there were murders in that house. It
was 6 family members, the DeFeo family. And then I also found that I did not know about this, but when I looked it up on Wikipedia, there was one death before that too, but the guy had supposedly died of natural causes or illness or whatever. It was not a murder or anything, but there was one death before that. So there's 7 people that have died in that house. That's ridiculous.
You're guaranteed not to have a good time.
Exactly.
If you move there. Whether it be haunting or tourist like me.
Have you heard of the Villisca Axe murders?
I have not.
6 families. It's 6 people out of the family and 2 guests. I think it was 2 children. I did not write all the details. I was in a hurry. This happened in 1912. This house. Basically, it's unsolved. They were all murdered with an axe in the middle of the night. There was 2 children staying the night with them or whatever.
I vaguely have heard this story. Was this what In Cold Blood was based off of?
I don't think so. It might have been loosely, but I'm not sure. But
where was this? Do you know where it was? Oh, was it like Kansas or something?
It's like Iowa or something.
Yeah,
I can't remember. I think it was Iowa. No, don't quote me on that. I forgot to write that part down. But you can tour it or even overnight stay at the house. And I thought that was
Has anything happened there since 1912?
I don't think so.
I might stay there.
And
I've no desire to go to Iowa.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like if I happen to pass through, maybe. But
nice little Airbnb there.
Airbnb. I tried to think of a ghost joke related to air, but I drew a blank completely. I don't know. Anyway, and then the next on the list is Fairmont Banff Hotel in Canada.
I am going there in 2 weeks. I'm super excited.
And I'm super jealous.
Scope it out.
You have to tell me if you see the bride.
I have to see the White Bride. Yes.
Or Sam the Bellman. But it's supposedly the most haunted place in Canada. It's a 129-year-old hotel.
Gorgeous. It's actually it's not a castle, but it's as big as a castle, and it kind of looks like a castle. So we're gonna call it a castle.
And then there's supposedly a room that's bricked up that an entire family was murdered behind.
Really?
Yes.
See, I haven't looked into it in that much depth yet.
But there's the two main ones. Are the bride supposedly tripped down the
stairs
and broke her neck. And Sam the bellman supposedly helps guests. He's still in his bellman outfit and he goes around and helps people.
I would like some help with my luggage.
I know, right?
Just have it move on its own.
Yep. And then I actually have the Lizzie Borden house listed next. Fall River, Massachusetts. We'll bring that up again. Free Wi-Fi, guys. And next on the list is Winchester Mystery House, which I have actually been to.
So jealous you've been there.
San Jose, California. It was owned by the widow Sarah Winchester. It's a big Victorian mansion. And she died in 1922. And up until then, they pretty much were constantly building on it. If you don't know about it, it's so weird. She had additions and added onto it because she
stopped building.
Yes, and she did it to appease spirits,
ghosts,
supposedly.
Yeah,
she had a little seance room where she consulted with spirits and they told her what to do to the house. There's stairs that go to nowhere. There's doors that open up to a drop off.
Like on a second story, you open a
yes,
door,
you
and
open
if
a
you don't
door,
watch your step, you're just going to go like straight down the ground.
I mean, they don't have that accessible for the public though. And then they have.
That's a shame.
And they did have. I don't know if they fixed it now. I think my sister said she was able to tour this area, but when I went before, there's an area that was closed off due to an earthquake damaging part of the area or whatever, and supposedly, I think somebody died in that. I'm not 100% on that.
Oh, wow. Another ghost.
But yeah, I did not sense a specific ghost in that house, but I will tell you that if you get behind in the tour group, it will get your heart racing because it is literally like a labyrinth in there.
Wow,
so you feel like if you do not want to get separated from your group because it can be really scary. If you're just a few steps behind, you're like, oh shit. Like, I don't want to be lost in here forever.
The ghost of Mrs. Winchester will show up.
Yep. And offer us free Wi-Fi.
Free Wi-Fi? No. Is there free Wi-Fi?
I don't know if I don't know. I was just
Can
making
you stay there?
I don't think so. But they do tours every day.
And you're an empath. You sense strange things in life.
Yeah, but like I said,
But you didn't sense anything there.
I don't know if that's because we weren't allowed into all of the parts of the house and stuff.
Or it could be because you were with such a large group. Because I hear they bring tours of like 30 people.
I guess I could say that the weirdest thing is the seance room. But it's also, it's smaller than you would think. Mm-hmm. It's literally the size of a closet.
Wow.
I mean, it's really small. It's like a walk-in closet size room. And it's just like off the kitchen. So it's just a really odd.
You're gonna bake some bread and go talk to the spirits.
Yes. So I just remember it being very claustrophobic and weird that it would be such a small space set aside as an actual room because it's almost just a pass through.
Were there any other rooms in there that were large, or was it extremely choppy?
I would say it was extremely choppy. There were larger rooms.
That makes sense because back then, in the 1800s and then the early 1900s, even wealthy folk, like she was, of course, the rooms, they didn't have very large open spaces. They had super small rooms. They had lots of rooms, but they were very, very small. The house across the street from me is for sale right now, and it's been completely redone and remodeled, and they've chopped down or taken out a lot of walls to open it up. It's a 5-bedroom, 3-story house across from me, and before they remodeled it, the rooms, even the bedroom, was the size of the bathroom, just super small. Mm-hmm. So I guess it's just the way houses were built back then. They didn't like a lot of open space.
Yeah. But either way, it's very claustrophobic and you get a weird feeling there. But like I said, it may just be because of how odd the space is. I'm not sure on that. Next on the list, I put Ford Theater.
Yes.
Where, Lincoln was shot by John Wilkes Booth on April 14th, 1865. One of the reasons I put this was not just because of general interest in that macabre location, but also because it has a connection to Mississippi in a way that there's a theory that John Wilkes Booth escaped his death and lived out the rest of his days in Guntown, Mississippi, which is not very far from us.
He was supposed to be a friend of Robert Gordon, who owned Lochinvar, another haunted place here locally.
And we'll probably talk about that at a later date. But Lochinvar is a whole other story. That and Daxton. Anyway, but I just thought it was fascinating because, there is a tombstone here that says John Wilkes Booth on it.
What was the date again that Lincoln was shot?
April 14th, 1865.
That's the date that the Titanic sunk. Is it? In 1912. April 14th/15th, because it was in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
That's what it made me think of. I was like, wait, April 14th? Really? That's the same date that's kind of bizarre.
Didn't realize it until now.
The same date. Everybody beware on April 14th.
I know, right? Next on the list, you're probably also familiar with because I've been here and I know you probably have. Dakota Apartments in New York.
Yes.
The site of John Lennon's assassination.
Assassination.
It's right over at Central Park West. That was in 1980. That was in 1980. But it also was the location where they filmed Rosemary's Baby.
Right. Classic movie. Love that movie.
When I visited New York, I was like, if I ever get rich enough to live in New York, I want to live in the Dakota Apartments because it's just beautiful.
It is gorgeous. The woodwork is fantastic.
Across from Central Park,
right.
It's just gorgeous.
I can't even begin to imagine what the rent is there.
Yeah.
Astronomical, no doubt.
Oh my God.
Just a small broom closet to rent in Manhattan is astronomical.
Oh my God, we're getting to the end of the list. We're almost there. All right, next on the list was one of yours, Centralia, Pennsylvania.
Been there. Super eerie, cool place to visit. It was where some 1962, I believe it was, some municipal people set fire to some trash in a cemetery and walked away, not realizing that it spread to the coal underneath the town, catching the entire town on fire underneath. And to this day, it's still burning.
It is creepy.
It's very creepy. They say it could burn for another 250 years. As long as it still has the heat and oxygen, which it apparently does, it will forever be on fire.
Just creepy.
And it's a ghost town now. Most of the people left. Very few still remain.
Well, I imagine because it's just dangerous.
Dangerous and hot. Yeah. See that.
And next on the list, you said that's where Silent Hill was based off of.
Yeah, they loosely based Silent Hill.
And next on the list, Waverly Hills Sanitarium in Louisville, Kentucky.
That is one place I want to go see the outside of, but I don't dare go inside. It was an insane asylum turned into a tuberculosis hospital, then turned into a nursing home. But the doctors were like Dr. Evil and experimented on the patients, and they became guinea pigs and they killed the patients. And one of the most well-known ghosts there was a nurse that got pregnant by one of the doctors and ended up hanging herself. And she supposedly is the number one ghost that haunts the place. I think Ghost Hunters or Ghost Adventures or one of those TV shows went and filmed there and supposedly caught her on film. So it was one of the most well-documented ones in one of those series. I can't remember which one, but reading the story and seeing a documentary on that place is enough to creep anybody out. I do want to visit, but I don't want to go inside. Not because I'm scared to catch tuberculosis, because any contamination there is probably long gone, but just the history of it is so bad and so wrong and so evil of what the doctors did to the patients there. Bad juju.
All right, and now that's pretty much the end of the list, but I put some honorable mention stuff at the bottom, like Stonehenge. I want to go to Stonehenge. Not necessarily dark, but weird and interesting and
druid.
Mhm.
Very druidy. Yeah, who druids
I've
think.
always wanted to go. Auschwitz. And
I-
I'm sorry I laughed, but I don't know why I laughed. But
I want to go there. The Holocaust is the number one piece of history that fascinates me even more than the Titanic. I have researched it and read up on it and seen every movie and every documentary, and I would like to visit there. Yes.
I've never seen a bunch of Civil War battlefields, and I've been to
Gettysburg.
some of them.
Yeah, Shiloh's not too far.
Yeah,
from
Shiloh's not too far from here, and it's very. I've always loved it for some reason. I've been many times.
here. I
But
cremated my uncle after he passed away, and we spread his ashes at Shiloh at his request. It's supposedly a haunted place.
and then every town that has like a significant serial killer all have like little tours of places that
Visit Ted Bundy's childhood home.
that kind of stuff. Dahmer especially, they have a Dahmer tour.
Just King County, Washington in general. It seems like almost every major serial
Yeah,
killer,
yeah.
with the exception of Dahmer and Gacy, have come from King County, Washington. What is it about that county
I don't know, but
that drops people to mass murder?
What is it with Florida? I mean, look at Florida man. Florida man.
Yeah.
And all the serial killers there too. Because I mean, Bundy even had his time there too.
Yeah.
But I know
Visit
they're and they
Florida.
do.
Go to Disney
And in
World.
California, they do a
California.
Manson tour and stuff that involves Sharon Tate's house and all that
Right.
kind of stuff. But I thought it was funny, and I know this is terrible, but the Sharon Tate house is now owned by the guy who created Full House.
You're kidding.
When I was looking this up, I saw that, and I was like, "Whoa, that's fascinating."
I'm surprised that they didn't tear that house down, honestly.
But anyway,
Out of respect for Sharon Tate, I think, being her family or Roman Polanski or any of them, I would have requested that the house be demolished.
I think it has been redone and stuff, so I don't
Well, I'm
know.
sure there's not like pig written on the wall anymore or whatever it was that was there. Yeah.
Does the Manson compound even exist? Because I didn't see any mention of it when I saw that. Does any of that stuff still exist?
I'm not sure. They started in, I think it was Arizona, is where Manson first started his little commune, and then they moved up into California. But I'm not sure.
That's what would fascinate me more than even the Sharon Tate house, I guess, just because it's like I want to see how they live.
Even still alive in the Manson clan? Tex Watson or
I don't know specifically. I think some of the women are. I know at least some of the women are. But
Squeaky.
Yeah.
No, I think Squeaky died of cancer in prison.
But I know at least some of them are. I don't know any details about
Hey,
who.
where was your compound? Yeah.
They'll
Sure, they
take
don't want
us.
to talk about it.
Probably not. They're probably like, get away from me.
Right.
I'm not worshiping the devil anymore. Leave me alone. Anyway, just kidding. I guess we're going to wrap this up for today. That's it. All of our list. If we missed any, maybe we can do another one at a later date. Tell us about it, whatever.
Yeah, send us a post under this telling us of your favorite haunted places and where you would like to see.
Alrighty. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening, everyone. I'm April Simmons, your host. Thanks to my co-host, Sahara. Theme and editing are by me. And Our Tupelo is our web host. Thanks to them again. I've got to get a credit to Wikipedia because a lot of just the little facts about where things were and things like that came from Wikipedia for this episode. And I'll thank Dark Tourist on Netflix, which is where we got the inspiration for this episode. If you want to check us out, we are on facebook.com/group/allcatsaregray where we have a discussion group. And you can download us on the Our Tupelo Facebook page. We also, if you want to contact us for any reason, for feedback or whatever, my email is mangledfairy@gmail.com. And we apologize for the continuing sound issues. We're still working out how to do everything. And hopefully